Thank you. Any member? Councillor Kondakor.
It is clear from this new delay that the Conservative administration aren't going to actually probably get a borough plan adopted in their 3 years of control. So I do think we need to look at where the dates will lie in 2024 as we get to a new administration, so we don't land at election time and expect to have a various things go on at the same time as a full council election. And obviously, I would like the plan to be a lot greener than I expect it will be delivered. So I don't want this council to develop a plan and then we'll have to fight it and then we change control and it's all a mess. So I think we need to be mindful of that and actually make sure we try and do as green a plan as possible and look at how much it is slipping. And I'm really alarmed by the comments about the transport assessment because it's all talking about traffic. The old plan had a 15% modal shift built in, which means that when we build houses, we assume that 15% more will change over to using public transport, cycling and walking than do at the moment. And that clearly hasn't happened for any of the new developments in Wellington and St Nicholas. They're entirely car dependent. No, some of them haven't even got bus stops. And so I do hope if this transport assessment is going to take a long time, it's actually a transport assessment rather than a highways assessment. And we actually look at the modal shift properly, what we're going to achieve. We have a rail assessment and a bus assessment and a cycling assessment as part of that process. So we actually make a proper plan, because we failed in the third-rate borough plan to actually have any infrastructure, and just doing the same again isn't actually going to get us a better plan. So I hope when you do write to people at the county, we actually ask not just for the highways modelling to do, but actually we have the modelling of the new railway entrances, hopefully a new Stocking Ford station. And really key to the borough and the modelling is if we get the Bay platform at Coventry and get the 2 trains an hour or 3 trains an hour coming up the line, because we will have no economic growth if we're strangled by not having all the transport options. So I do hope we really need to look at the full range of transport. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Tromans.
Thank you, Chair. I think on the modal shift point, this has been talked about a number of times in a number of different meetings at this council. The whole "if you build it, they will come" has turned out to be complete rubbish. You can build all the cycle lanes you like, but all over Europe they're digging them up and converting them back to roads because people just don't make that modal shift. They might walk, but we are not going to become a nation of people cycling to commute to Coventry. It just ain't going to happen. In terms of having to write and change the borough plan now on the basis of a change of control and it needing to be a green, much more green focused borough plan, wow. I would never disrespect democracy and take the voters of the borough for granted like that and assume that the Green Party will be in control, because it ain't going to happen ever. We should proceed on the basis of democracy. The people of the borough spoke last time, and they gave a majority to a particular group who is bringing forward this review as quickly as is possible. And I think we should only proceed on that basis. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Kondakor.
I must come back on the comment about cycle lanes being ripped up out all over Europe. That's simply not happening. You even now look in London at the great success of cycle routes being put in there. As long as you build a whole route, not just a couple of 100 yards like we tend to do in the Neaton and Bedworth, cycling is taking off. But also it needs to be linked in with the rail services, because the model in Holland and France and everywhere else is you cycle to the Neaton station or Bermuda Park, and then you get the train into Coventry. Yeah, the vast majority of the longer journeys are done by train, and 1 train per hour, and no, it just doesn't work. So having a half-hourly or every 20 minutes train service, as Lub says, we need the county council to pull their fingers out and get those longer distance journeys done by train. But for the short 1-2 miles to the station, cycling is really, really popular, and it will be Yeah, maybe only 20%, 10% of the population, but that's 10 or 20% of the traffic off the roads. Thank you.
You want to come back on that, do you? Yeah, I'll take you first.
Thank you, Chair. 20% of the population ain't going to be cycling. And you know, I know Holland's flat. I'm sure you know all about flat Earth. But 20% of the population is not going to be commuting by bicycle. So it's as simple as that, and we can't plan on that basis. Yeah, absolutely, we need the trains to be running a bit more frequently on the Knuckle line. That is a major limiter. A lot of people would like to commute to Coventry that way, and it needs to be restored. Although we seem to be having all sorts of people throwing industrial action spanners in the work on that one. So that's a bit beyond our control and the counties, I'm afraid.
Councillor Baxter-Payne.
I had to come back on this point on modal shift. Modal shift sounds a wonderful concept. It sounds like a great idea, but it comes down to personal choice. We can put cycle lanes anywhere we want, but if the person doesn't want to get on his push bike and use it, they won't use it. If a person wants to get on a train, they will use a train. It's personal choice. And there is a prime example just down the road in Coventry. I spend a lot of time driving around Coventry where they've put cycle lanes all through the city. And if you drive through Coventry at any point, you are very lucky to see a push bike on the cycle lane. So it's a great idea, and it's something that we should all encourage, but we have to educate people. Because we can put cycle lanes everywhere, but if I don't want to get on my bike and use a bike, I'm not going to get on my bike and use a bike. If I don't want to go by bus, I'm not going to go by bus. And I think that we've got to be really careful here about trying to do things that we've got to educate people to do, because it is a personal choice to use every single different form of transport. But we all get in the car and we all drive the car. And going back on the point on the extra evidence on the railway, I'd be very concerned that if that evidence actually pushed this back even further than the 10 weeks that it's saying now. So I think that we need to be very careful about what we're asking for, because it could actually delay the process even further.
Just one more time, Councillor Kondakor. We could debate cycling all night and go round in circles, but I'll let you come back in.
The point on personal choice is people, we've got the census report, about 1.7% of people travelling by bicycle. People are choosing not to cycle down Eastborough Way or whatever because there is nowhere for them to cycle. We might get 10% cycling, and that'll be people's personal choice. At the moment, people don't have the personal choice, and that 10% isn't happening because we just simply do not have a route that people feel safe. So I'm not, even in Holland, 70% of people don't cycle to work. Yeah, I get that, but the people can't cycle to work at the moment or cycle to school because they're expected to cycle on the Eastborough Way, or they're expected to cycle on the Coventry Road in Coventry and Bulkington, or we do need the provision so that those who want to can use greener modes of transport.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any